Hello, my technical drawing and design class. Today we are working on assignment 6, which are the stairs. This is a pretty simple one, especially knowing we've already done the shutter project. So it's going to be very similar to that. We will be adding a new command called break at point. At this point, I'm not going to go through the whole procedural setup for you because you have already done this on, I guess, 5 other projects at least. So I'm going to let you go through the procedural settings to set up the staircase with the units, the limits, saving it, setting up all your other settings. I am going to point out one point, and that is in the last part of the procedural procedures to draw the staircase. It says load the hidden line. This is like what we did with the block out uh, assignment. So we come up here to the properties, the line type, and I'm just going to go to other. 'Cause that's where yours will be. It'll be in other. Yours may not be showing up here yet. You may have to click load, and then when it loads, come down, find hidden right there, and say OK. Obviously, it's not going to want to load it a second time for me. But it'll show up here in hidden. A couple other things with this is, as it says, set your global scale factor to 24 and deselect use paper space units for scaling. We do not want to use the paper space units for scaling. All right, so I can say OK, and we can continue on. So let's go ahead and start drawing this thing. It says first, with the ortho on, which is right here, it's the triangle on my toggles, it is on. I want to draw the outside of a staircase, 4 foot 6 inches wide by 15 feet tall. I'm just gonna work right about here, I think. Let me get my line tool. Here we go. I'll work right about here. This should be fine. Again, I am going at 4 foot 6 inches. Enter. I need to come up 15 feet. Enter. Across 4 foot 6 inches again. Enter. I'm just going to close this off using my endpoint. Press escape. Step 1, done. So save that. Step 2, we're going to offset like we have done before. It says our hand railing needs to be 2 inches off, so 2-inch handrail. And I'm going to grab this line and just offset it 2 inches. Perfect. Next, in 2A, we're going to do an array. So we're going to grab our array tool up here. We've used this before in the shutter. We're selecting the bottom line. Once we have all of our objects, which is in this case is only one, we press enter. And then across the top here, we go with a rectangular type array, columns 1, rows. We are doing 15 rows. And the space in between rows is 12 inches. Oh, looks good. We're going to close the array. Next, it says in 2A triple I to explode the array. So we can either type explode, or you have this one that looks like a box with the panels going off. That is the explode command, either or. So explode, what is it we want to explode? This object right here. There's our array. So I am going to press enter. And now these are individual lines. So very good. Step 2, done. Save. Step 3 says ortho off. So I'm going to come down here and turn my ortho off in my toggles. And we're going to draw a break line for the stairs because our stairs are going from the lower level to the upper level, which means it'd be on 2 different sheets, or 2 different drafting sheets. It says just kind of eyeball just past the stair center. So I'm going to draw a line. And I think I'll go right about here. So I'm going to come up, make a diagonal. Then I'm going to come, oops, I just grabbed my center point. I didn't want to do that. Delete that. I'm actually going to turn my O snaps off just to make my life easier for the moment. Okay. So I'll come up here. Nice little line there. Then I shoot up. Then it comes down. Then it comes back up. And then it continues on its merry way. Something like that. Turn my O-snaps back on. So there we go. That is my break line. This is what we're talking about with step 3. Again, we're eyeballing this. So go ahead and save. Step 4, we're going to use the new tool called Break at Point. This is a really, really cool tool. It's under the Modify. So when we open up the Modify, you probably have to go hunting a little bit for it. But it is this icon right here, Break at Point. The neat thing about the Break at Point is we can select a line and then pick the point in there that we want to split it into 2 lines. And with us having intersections now, we can have this thing break at a very specific point and still keep both parts of the line. So I'm going to grab my break at line. I want to break this line right here. And my break point is where this line is I just drew across. So now, if I were to select it, I can select this top line or the bottom line. These are now 2 different lines. So I want to do this everywhere that this break line crosses. And you have to go back and grab the break at point each time. So now I want to break this line. And I want to break it right where I intersect. Very good. Modify, break at point. I want to break this step right where I intersect. Modify, break at point. Now you can see this line is smaller. I want to break it again. I want to break it right where it intersects. Break at point. Now again, my line is smaller because we're still breaking it down. Now I want to break it again where it intersects. Perfect. I'm going to modify again, break at point, come to my next step up, break it at this intersection. And this is where these O snaps are doing me so well because the O snaps are putting it right at the intersection for me. And finally, this line right here, I want to break this at point. So everything looks good. So we have all that done. Very good. That is step 4. A and B. Now we see how to match our properties. So it says everything above the break line, we're going to turn it into a hidden line and it's going to be green. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can grab some of these quicker. There we go. Now zoom in, get the rest of them. I want this line. I want this line. I want this line. And I want this line. So all of this is above this break line. All of these parts are below the break line. So I have all that. I am going to change these to hidden type. So I now have that dashed line. And I'm going to change them to green. Perfect. So that's C. Now for C double I, it says change the railing to magenta. Lines on both sides of the railing. So we're going to grab this one. We're going to grab this one, and this one. That is our railing. So all we need to do is change this one to magenta. Escape. Very good. Triple I is change the remaining treads and stringer to blue. So that's all of these plus that little piece right there. So look at everything. Yep, very good. So I'm going to change that color to blue. Very good. And it says change my break line to red. So this is this line that I drew. I'm changing this one to red. Press escape. Yeah, so this is where we are at so far. Blue below the brake line, green above the brake line. The hand railing is purple. The brake line is red. Everything above it, which is hidden, is using the hidden lines. So that is for C. It says let all the lines remain on layer 0, which we're at. So let's go ahead and save this. And we're going to draw the post at the bottom. So the neat thing about this post is it actually is in line with the bottom. And you can see that directly on your example right here. The center of it's directly off of this line. So all we really need to do on this is we're going to offset this railing right here. We're going to offset it according to our directions, 2 inches. 2 inches. Once again, offset, just come in. This is a temporary line. We will be getting rid of this thing. All we're doing is using it to set our circles. So we're going to grab our circle, and we just need to start it right here at the bottom, around that endpoint. And we can actually just drag to the next endpoint. Pretty cool. Let's do it again. Center, and we're going to drag to the next endpoint. Perfect. Just like that. I can go to this line because we only use that to set up our centers, but the post is where it needs to be. So that is that. We did that. Now we need to change the null post to magenta. So let's grab these here, change my color to magenta. So we now match. And finally, let's go ahead and save it. Always good to save. And then step 6, it says trim the null post to match the example. The example is right there. That's what I plan on trimming it to. So grab a trim tool, make sure you select your lines, press enter so you can have your trim lines. And let's see here, this line stays, this line goes away. Actually, it looks like the only line that goes away. And that's it. Press escape. I'm going to zoom out. And this is the staircase. Save it and submit it. If you have any questions, please let me know. But this is the assignment for the Georgian house project number 6, the stairwell.